Welcome, everyone, to a Dose of Wisdom Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, David Stein, and today we have the privilege of having on our show Moshe Gross. Moshe is the CEO at Reset Locations, a well-known, respected film location broker in the New York metropolitan area. Moshe's story is fascinating, unique, and not the typical trajectory for someone engaged in real estate. Moshe, thank you again for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Do you have any interesting stories of challenging assignments that you were given in order to secure a film site?
Challenging assignments. There's trying to think of some
Unusual
good ones.
requests or
There's been, there's been a lot of requests for. A lot of times they come to me for you have 50s or 60s style kitchens. The problem is, the old apartments. The problem is everyone in our community, when they buy a old apartment building, what do they do? Right away, what do they do? They
change the
rip out all
kitchen?
those kitchens, the kitchens our grandmothers had. Those
No.
beautiful kitchens. That's what they want. They knock them out in a second. Um, and that's the and
That's one of the
that's
most difficult
yeah,
things.
it's a difficult thing. That's a lot of people in our community. What happens with these properties? I'm like, God, can you save one space? I've gone to different places, tunnel under the building. Um, that's for horror films. Gone to different warehouses. I've gone to rundown sort of spaces. There's things that you wouldn't. You know, they ask for example, for industrial spaces. I got
Right.
the request just now. I got a request for industrial space. There's a challenge with industrial spaces. The challenge is that when they're filming, it has to be quiet. Most industrial spaces are pretty noisy.
That's a
They're
good
not
point.
shutting down. So you have to think about a space that is going through some sort of transition. That there's a time that someone's selling a property, someone just moved out. That's usually it gets pretty challenging to find that exact sort of space. And
It's interesting.
if I don't find it, they find it themselves without me.
Right. Do you have any stories of Ashkacha Pratis or divine providence that you have personally experienced in your profession?
Well, I think the story I said before, that was
Yes.
a pretty good story of Ashkaga Pratis,
Right.
although
Okay.
not the best way to look at it. But I think the film got shut down. But I did have an interesting story. There was a fellow I work with, and I toured with him for about 3 days straight, just going from office building to office building, checking them out.
Right.
Early stages of a film. Actually, the film, I don't think they ever ended up filming. I think they shut down that film for whatever reason, but
Right.
they toured for a long time. And at one point, it was Friday afternoon, and I was like, I got to go home for Shabbos. I'm done. I'm done for the day. Like, I'm done. I just went to enough
Right.
buildings. Let's continue next week. And he started like talking. We started telling his wife is Jewish. I have a feeling he was Jewish, but I don't know. And they were trying to have a kid. And he's telling me. So I said jokingly, I said, my wife to light candles, like Shabbos candles.
Right.
So jokingly under the conversation. That was the conversation. He called me up recently. I think he may have a kid just now, but it's literally 9 months from that Friday.
Wow.
9 months later.
That's
Crazy story.
incredible.
But I'm like, oh, I'm a rabbi.
After this podcast, you're going to have like a whole line of people coming to you for blessings.
Like,
Wow, that's a
it's
great
not my
story.
blessing. Yeah.
So, have you had any interesting encounters with celebrities, in the course of your work that you could tell us about?
I've had some groups, some celebrities, and there's different types of celebrities.
Right.
Most celebrities that are there during filming, I try not to bother them
Right.
because they are in the middle of filming. Imagine they are working during the workday. Usually
Yeah.
during the workday, a little bit more, they're involved in the job. So I'm listening more focused. I remember I was watching them. I go down usually to the site during filming just to check in on the properties. Sometimes I'm there for longer, depending on the property. And I was standing a couple feet away from, again, I don't remember every single name of these actors. And they're just walking back and forth before they actually film the scene. They're repeating their lines over and over again. You
Right.
know, because they want to remember, they want to know how to say it. And they're just sort of saying in different moments, in different ways. And so one of the workers from the film walked by and said something to him, and he was like very thrown off, like, like, be quiet, like, don't say anything to me right now. But some of them are a little more chilled when they're they're about to go, they're about to they go walk, like when you're walking into a meeting, right? You prepare something before a meeting. You want to be ready for that meeting. You're rehearsing those
Right. You're
lines.
focused. You're very focused.
And there a lot, many of them, you see what tier actor someone is by the amount of focus they have. They're zoned into what they're doing,
Mhm.
and like they're zoned into that part. They actually, sometimes actually, there's films about films, about people who actually got so
Right.
into that character. They walked around for months acting like that character to be in that mode.
Right.
I was talking to a certain one celebrity the other day. This was on a different. I don't want to start taking names. I'm not throwing names back and forth. But
What does the name rhyme with? No, just kidding.
Miller,
Okay.
we were saying now when you have a celebrity buy the property, this is important also. The reason why properties would agree to have filming over there, obviously they get paid for filming over there, but another reason is there's a marketing aspect, the excitement aspect. It's just as I said before, the intangibles and the tenants and the people that live around there, they get excited. No, you might spot a celebrity, you might see an actor, it gets exciting for them.
Right.
And so I told this fellow, I said, you're you're still in your COVID mind about everything's shut down. They're not in that state anymore. Everything's a lot more open. Say hello to people again. Don't
Right.
just hide yourself, try to sneak onto set. You're walking by people. It helps for me as well for the property. I know, you don't want news to get out there too much, but there's a certain amount that you could give, and a certain amount that you can't give.
Right.
Give a little bit, and it helps for you as well, because if you don't give anything, they're not going to let you film at the property. So
Mhm.
give something. And it was interesting. He actually
He
agreed with
listened to
me.
you.
He listened to me. It ended up not working, because we made up a time that he was actually going to present themselves at the property and some, meet and greet type of thing. They were filming at night. He was going to come during the day. He couldn't come during the day. So it ended up not working. But it's just something, again, based on my experience of what you could tell them, what you can't tell them, what you could
Right.
push back on. It was a
Yeah.
more of an ask, by the way. It was a big ask, but I feel it was well warranted.
Right. Okay. Okay. So my final question to you is, for anyone in the audience considering renting out their site for a film, what are some things they should know?
So first of all, you should use someone like me, Moshe Gross, Reset Locations. Don't I would say don't go about it yourself. People do say, we do it ourselves. There's a lot of things you don't know.
Right.
It takes away from your focus of your property, of managing your day-to-day stuff on your property. What should you know? There's obviously in everything there's some good and bad, right?
Right.
Um, I can tell you there's a lot of good over here. It brings a good aspect to your property. It brings a good storyline. If you have, let's say you have a vacant space in your building, so your broker's gonna be walking around the building the following day, and say we had a celebrity walk through here yesterday. We have a film that was just filmed over here. There's another storyline to your building. This is something, again, you could get paid 10, 20, 30. I've had buildings get $500,000 of filming, you know,
Wow.
but I've had buildings tell me that the marketing aspect or the storyline aspect to them, that they get signed that longer term deal, of a 10, 15-year deal because of a story. It doesn't make any sense. As I said, I
Right.
keep saying it's intangible, but it's a
It
storyline they can
raises
walk around
the
walk around that
profile of the
property.
building.
Right. It raised the profile of the building. You don't have to advertise it on your ads. And I know there are some properties in New York that put it up that Succession was filmed in this property. That's not you're excited about it. I don't think that's really selling or bringing up the value of the building, but it's something you need something to talk about when you're touring a property. You need
Right.
something else. You can't just say, "Oh wow, there's another room, there's another room, there's another room." It's the same thing. If you have something to talk about, it changes the storyline. And it's something I just thought it's something that people don't just think about when it comes to
Yeah, for sure.
filming out a property. But I'll say there's always a need for people say my property. It's so simple. Why would they want to film my property? simple properties are also in the day-to-day life of a person. Think about what type of things are needed for filming. A typical film will follow the life of somebody. Let's say it's a regular type of person. So that person gets up in the morning, maybe goes for breakfast, goes to work, depending what the person works in. You work in a medical office, you work in a regular office, standalone office, it's a law office. Is it a, it's a different, you need those type of categories. But maybe the guy goes for lunch, he goes out to maybe a local cafe, or maybe he goes out for dinner, so think about it and where that person lives. Is that person a high-end person, lives in some sort of high-end apartment, or is it a home? So all those things all fit together to make that storyline. So if someone says, well, my thing is not unique, it is unique. Again, certain properties don't work if your bedrooms are too small. Usually when you see a small bedroom in a film, that bedroom is probably double the size in real life, because they need room to put the cameras and everything. So if the rooms are too small, the offices are too small, it doesn't work for filming. So things have to be a drop larger for filming. Something I learned also. That's something I learned along the way. And when a film comes into your space, the thing that makes it more tangible, not more tangible, the things that move you up in the world of filming that make it more of a better property for filming, is if you have some other things there as well. Meaning, besides for that, let's say a retail space. You have a retail space and a retail building, but you have also a vacant space next to there that they can use for catering. Because they'll bring the whole team, have a holding thing where they put all their background actors or crew. They need a place to put them as well. A place for parking. You have that. So you're moving up. The more boxes that you check, the more you're moving.
Increase the value of what you're offering.
Increase the value of that property. So we can come in and look at that property. We take a look. We say, okay, this property makes sense. Also, they could charge a higher price for this property because you check more of those boxes.
Okay. Wow, I learned a lot in this short amount of time. Okay, so thank you again for coming on the show, and hopefully we could have you again sometime.
Yeah, of course. Listen, we could talk about, there'll be more films to talk about. Maybe it'll be a
I'm
film
sure.
about the podcast. You never know.
Yes, that will be the sequel.
Okay.
Very good. Have a good day.